Welcome. People are just joining us.
Great.
Hello, everyone. You're all very welcome. People are just coming in, so settle in and get ready for a treat with Miss Tara Cremin. Maybe just drop in the chat where you're zooming in from. Oh, here we are. Tanisha's from Atlanta, Georgia, Naples, Florida. We're Americans leading so far. How are you, Tara?
Good.
Yeah. How are
It's
things?
almost spring in Toronto. The flowers are trying to bloom.
It's the same here in England. It's not spring weather, but you can still sense it there trying to do its thing.
Yeah.
Okay, we have some UK showing now. Hi, Zoe. Ella from Switzerland, Maine and Scotland. Okay, people from everywhere. So we just give people a little bit of time. We have a few minutes to go to start.
Yeah, no problem.
You got back okay from New Orleans? That was the last time I saw you.
Yeah, I did. I actually I stayed for a couple of days afterwards, and I did a little road trip, which was fun. So yeah.
Yeah, lovely. It's a really interesting part of the world.
Yeah, I'd never been down there before.
Yeah, I hadn't either. We did it the other way around. We went for a few days beforehand, and I think the way you did it was better, actually.
I don't know. I can never decide what is the better option, but
yeah, pros and cons, I guess, like everything in life.
Yeah. And you had a very busy then London Book Fair right after.
London Book Fair right after, and a few other things, and then I went down with a weird virus thing, which I'm just back from now, so I feel like I haven't actually been sitting at a desk for about a month, but yay. Oh, Tara's the third person that Tanisha has heard of who's been in New Orleans in the past month. Me too.
Yeah.
I
got to meet I met Orna in real life for the first time in New Orleans, which was it was a treat.
Yes, it was. After how many years?
I know, it's been quite a while. Like, I'll have to I'm never in that part of the world on work business. It's always just to see the family.
I know, and there's never enough time. I'm the same when I go back to Ireland.
Yeah,
I always, oh, Shell is here.
Oh, yeah, hi, Shell.
Yay, hi, Shell. Okay, so we are coming up to half. People may be coming in, as you're speaking, but let's get started. So I think everybody who's here knows why they're here. This evening is one of our partner member webinars, and Kobo Writing Life has been a very valued partner member of Allies since we started. Actually, Kobo was at our launch, and even before Tara was there, I think, certainly in Kobo Writing Life. Kobo was there at the London Book Fair. Maybe it was the year after we launched, but certainly it was way back when. And we love Kobo and everything that you guys do. So this evening you're going to bring people through essentially everything that's new at Kobo, how to use the platform, how to get the most out of it, and all that kind of stuff. But for those who maybe haven't met you before, do you want to just do a little introduction to who you are, how you got into Kobo, and all about Tara?
Sure. So I'm Tara Cremin, and I'm the director for Kobo Writing Life. I've been working with Kobo since 2012, which seems wild. I'm from Ireland originally, and but live in Toronto now, where Kobo is headquartered. So when I started at Kobo, it was sort of being the first response for Kobo Writing Life, being the person that answered emails, and then kind of slowly wanted to dive in more about how to solve the problems rather than just answering the emails. So I joined the kind of publisher operations side, and really worked on like the technical side around the EPUBs and metadata issues and all of that stuff, and sort of helped with the distribution to Overdrive that we'll talk about a little bit later. So then after a few years of doing that, sort of came back to the business side now, where I kind of lead the team here on the English language piece. So lucky to work with a team of book lovers that are really heavily involved in the indie community. They love the books. They keep an eye on the comings and goings, as like something that we all appreciate so much is just how quick changing it is. And I always appreciate these relationships and working directly with the authors. And I think from having that different experience, it kind of gives me a little bit of a well-rounded view of understanding a little bit of like the back end piece, but then also kind of now in this, I've been in this role for probably, it's been over 3 years now of being more of like the front face of KWL, as we shorten it to KWL internally. But yeah, I think that's in a nutshell my Kobo story.
That's fantastic. I learned things there I didn't know before. Your official title is?
The director of Kobo Writing Life.
Director of Kobo Writing Life. And we're inflicting 2 Irish women on people here tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so shall we get started? I
Absolutely.
don't know if you want to try sharing your screen. This is new technology for us here, so everybody bear with us for a moment. Are you seeing, if you bring your cursor down, you should see a little arrow that says, if you hover over it, it says share screen.
Of course, I just have to change my... Oh, I'm going to have to quit and reopen Chrome. So...
Oh, really? Okay, no problem.
So I'll just be 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. We have another Irish woman in the house. Hi, Niamh. Good to see you. At least one. Okay, Dale had issues finding the live stream. What were your issues, Dale? Just curious because, as you probably know, all of this is new to us. So if you want to pop in the chat what happened, that will help us to kind of give instructions in future so it doesn't happen again. She's back. Hello.
Yes, I was telling Orna I've upgraded my computer, so I'm still in the throes of giving permissions to everything.
Oh, yeah. Cool. No problem. So yes, there you are. I'm going to opt out now and let you take over so that I'm become a viewer like everybody else. And then I'll be back at the end to field questions. So everybody, if you have questions, if they come up, you can pop them into the chat as they arise, but Tara will deal with them at the end. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Can I just confirm you can see the screen okay?
Yeah, I can see it.
The big screen, it's not the note side. Okay, so yeah, I actually can't see the chat. So I'll just talk and then we can go through the chat after, if that's okay.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'll get started. Thanks so much for joining. And spending the evening listening to me talk. Thank you. Appreciate that. So we did a bit of an intro there, but as I mentioned, I'm the director for Kobo Writing Life. You can quite often find me like this with my head in a Kobo, always reading the latest thing. I wanted to give you a little bit of an update of the agenda. So we're going to do a quick Kobo overview. I'm going to talk a little bit about the e-readers, as you might not be as familiar, how to publish on Kobo Writing Life and what's involved with that, and various different promotional opportunities we have and best practices. So to give you a little bit of an overview of Rakuten, who is our parent company, they are an e-commerce giant. They are all over the world in many different countries, and you can see that we're here in Canada. And they operate in 30 countries and regions. And when you think about global members using Rakuten services, it's 1.7 billion global members, which is wild to think of the term billion being used here. But just giving you a sense of like the over 70 services that are available to different customers. Rakuten Kobo being represented here in their digital content arm. If you're kind of curious about some of the other things that you might be familiar with, Rakuten are one of the sponsors of the Golden State Warriors, the NBA team. There's also Rakuten Viber, which is a messaging service, and we have Rakuten TV and Viki, and then also Rakuten Advertising, and they're doing a lot of ads in the States at the moment around Rakuten, which is the rewards coming for when you earn cash when you're shopping online, which was formerly known as Ebates and now is rebranded as Rakuten. So I like to share this to give a different sense about everything that Rakuten does, and then how does Kobo fit into that piece there as well. So Kobo stands for books. We like to say that it quite literally means it is an anagram of the word book. That's how we came up with the name. But the thing that differentiates us is that we really are all about the digital reading experience. We're not trying to get you into our ecosystem to sell you something else. It really is all about the books with us. And we like to think about ourselves as your favorite local bookshop perfected. And because honestly, internally, our mission really is to bring the power of reading to as many people as possible. And one of my favorite things about working at Kobo is that we are a company of book lovers. And it's always a pleasure to come to work every day with similarly minded people that are really focused on the digital experience, whether that is the audiobook experience, the ebook experience, or the devices. We do that all in-house together, designing these pieces and working with the various different teams there. And we like to think that we're making your reading life a little bit better. So I wanted to just give a quick overview of some of our devices. So the Kobo Sage is what we call it provides an immersive reading experience. You can listen to your listen to your audiobooks, you can read your ebooks, and you can also write on the device itself with the Kobo stylus. We have the Kobo Libra 2, which is our second generation device of the Kobo Libra. It has great storage at 32 gigabytes. You can see that it has the kind of horizontal reading as well, so it rotates the screen. And my favorite feature is that it has the buttons, as does the Sage, but we did bring the buttons back, that you can use both the buttons to change and also side swipe the screen. Both of these devices are also waterproof. We actually made the first waterproof devices in market. So we are continuing to innovate with our e-readers. I think sometimes there can be a little bit of a misconception of like an e-reader is a device that hasn't really changed much. It's not true. We're constantly trying to innovate with them. And that can especially be seen with the Kobo Ellipsa 2E. It's the biggest screen that we've done on a device. It's a 10.3 inch screen. I have it here. I'm going to disrupt anything if I try and bring it up. But it was one of our most innovative devices, as we have the stylus that allows you to take notes within the device, just as on the Sage, and you can actually mark up your books as well. It's all integrated seamlessly with Dropbox, which is a really easy way as a writer. You could potentially be using this with your editor to kind of go back and forth. It has the script to text feature. So if it actually recognizes your handwriting pretty well, even my scroll, which is good to know, but it can convert that to text for you, which is really interesting. And one of the things that I'm really proud of with this device and also our Kobo Clara 2E is that they're made with recycled plastic. I think it's up to 90% recycled and ocean-bound plastics, which is something that we really want to do with all of our devices going forward, and to try and be a little bit more eco-conscious with what we're putting out into the world. So yeah, just wanted to give you a little bit of an insight into what we're doing. And also the Kobo Ellipsa, you can connect to Bluetooth for your audiobooks as well. So whether it's like Bluetooth headphones or Bluetooth speakers, you can do that, take notes, you can do it all together in the one device, which I think is, I like to think that we make some of the best e-readers around. And then on the Kobo Writing Life piece, we really like to think of Kobo Writing Life standing for writers. So this is Michael Tamlin, the Kobo CEO, and he is a content person. That is how he started at Kobo before coming, or how he joined and then climbed the ranks up to CEO himself. And I like this quote. This is actually from Frankfurt last year, where he was kind of talking about the self-publishing market. And I like to highlight this because I think it's really important that we work in a company that has a CEO that is so aware of the indie market and so aware of the importance of the indie market. So he knows that, like he's saying here, in each of the markets that we're in as Kobo, self-publishing is the first, second, or third largest publisher in that market for us. So to put that into context, it's like having a whole other Penguin Random House in the market that no one sees. He called it the dark matter of publishing, which I always find quite amusing. So it's something that you as authors, we as kind of like me running the indie side of the business are very aware of. However, as you're all too aware of, that it's not really reported anywhere. It's, you know, it's still underrepresented in different publishing stats. And it's great to see the work that Ally is doing to sort of change that, especially with the author surveys and things. But yeah, I always like to highlight this as just showing that this is an area that we kind of really value the importance of the indie authors. And we do see this as a partnership for our business, because we're only successful when the indie authors are also successful. So it's really easy to publish with Kobo Writing Life. We like to think that you can do it in 4 steps. You just create an account at kobo.com/writinglife. You can upload your file, and then you can publish, and you can publish both ebooks and audiobooks directly with us. And then the last step that I like to highlight is that you can promote to readers, which I'll go into a little bit more depth after, but it doesn't end with just publishing your book. Of course, the promotion is the harder, maybe not the harder, the writing the book is pretty hard, but it is one of the more challenging pieces. So I like to make sure that we have that area covered. In my opinion, I think the publishing should be like the absolute easiest part of it. You shouldn't have to have any trouble publishing on Kobo. We want you to be able to focus on writing your next book and then also promoting that book as well. So what makes us different from the other retailers that are out there? I think first and foremost, there's no exclusivity. We're not going to ask you for exclusivity. It kind of goes against the ethos that we have here at Kobo Writing Life, where we do encourage you to publish on as many platforms as possible to reach as many readers as possible. So Kobo should just be part of the wide story that you're telling with your books. We have competitive royalty rates. If your books are priced over $2.99 Canadian dollars and US, I believe it's I should have looked up the euro and the GBP price, so forgive me, but the equivalent of $2.99 Canadian, you receive 70%, and there's no higher price cap there. So you could set your book higher than this and you're earning 70% on each sale. And we do have a global reach. We like to think of ourselves as one of the most global retailers. We could sell books in up to 190 countries at any given time. And we have a lot of teams on the ground in strategic locations. We partner with various different partners throughout the world as well. So sometimes that can be a brick and mortar bookstore that we are powering their digital experience with their ebooks and their audiobooks. So for example, I'm trying to think of an example, like Fnac in France, and we also have partnerships. Oh, and there's also like Perua and Gondi in Mexico, or we have similar partnerships with e-commerce companies like bol.com in the Netherlands, where we're kind of partnering with them, empowering their digital experience. And it really has helped us have a global reach. We like to think of ourselves as a globally local bookseller, meaning that we want you to sell everywhere in the world. But we do understand there is a little bit of a nuance between selling books in France versus Australia, for instance, which is why it's really important for us to have people on the ground with that local knowledge. So we have a dedicated author support team. My team that I alluded to, they're really, really interested in this industry. And we're always happy to take the time to talk to authors and kind of give our advice as best we can on a case-by-case basis. So we like to dive in and kind of build up those relationships. And we're a trusted Ally partner. So as Orna mentioned, that we've been partnered with Ally for her since the start. And I like to share this slide as this just shows the global reach, really. We sometimes do a call out on Twitter or X for the hashtag KWL map, where authors kind of share as many countries that they're selling in. And Joanna Penn is always really good at sharing these. And I think this was her latest one, where these are English language books, and she's sold them in 178 countries on Kobo. So I think it's really, really encouraging to see this here, and always like to see people sharing it. But it is a great visual of, when I say global reach, I really do mean a global reach, that there are readers that you can reach while publishing through Kobo Writing Life. So I'm repeating myself, but we really want you to reach readers wherever they are, however they want to read. And what I mean by this is, like, when you think about the digital reading experience, I like to split it into what we have as like 4 different types of readers. So we have your digital reader here. They're probably likely to own an e-reading device if they're really an avid reader. The next kind of person we have is your audiobook listener, who often is probably always listening to something. Audiobooks are great because they can listen while they're doing something else. I don't know about you guys, but my apartment is never as clean when I have a very good audiobook on the go. We also have the borrower, the people that really value the library experience. This doesn't necessarily just mean a more price-conscious consumer. There's a really like emotional relationship with the library as well that people have. So all of the Kobo devices are integrated with Overdrive, so everyone can access. It's very easy to create an account and access your local library through Kobo devices. And also through Kobo Writing Life, you can send your books to the library as well. And then the last person is the subscriber. So this type of reader where they're really, really avid. They're probably picking books by feel and want to just continue reading them. And they're probably the top reader that you're trying to target with your books. So I'll go into a little bit of the promotional opportunities that we have available. So we have a promotions tool that's within your Kobo Writing Life dashboard. So if you don't see the promotions tool in your account, you just have to email us for access. This is just a little bit of a way for us to curate the opportunities because most of the opportunities are for English language, but we do have authors all over the world. But we will happily enable this for you. You just have to email the team at writinglife@kobo.com. So we update this on a weekly basis. We have a lot of different promotions available. We always have our promotions for our free titles. We actually curate the free page on kobo.com with just Kobo Writing Life titles where you can be featured there. We have seasonal features, and actually some of the newer things that I'm excited to talk about that you might have noticed if you were in there recently. We will have spots for translations from time to time where we're working with our team in Europe to really to field translated content from authors, probably specifically in French, Dutch, or Italian. So you might spy those in the promotions tab. And then we also have our Kobo Plus promotions, which is what we're really excited about because Kobo Plus is our non-exclusive subscription service. And it's really, really been a great way for Kobo Writing Life authors to reach new readers. But it also brings up a new challenge of discoverability with subscriptions. So we're actually curating different promotions around this to try and have spotlights for Kobo Writing Life authors. And one of the things that I like about the Kobo Plus promotion that we have, so you can apply to be featured and your book would be in we have a 6-book carousel that we're going to update every week. But the great thing about this is that, so your book will be featured on the main part for 1 week, but we don't remove it afterwards. We're actually just moving it down the carousel. And we're finding that this is giving us a great tailwind of reading after the fact. So we're kind of playing around with different opportunities within our promotions here. So I would definitely encourage you to check out this page if you haven't. So many of the promotions are percentage off promotions. And what I mean by that is that they're either promo code driven. So it could be 25% off box set books, for instance, or it could be a buy more, save more, or a buy one, get one free. So you don't have to do any price changes, which as a wide author, we know can be a little bit time consuming because you're having to balance all of the retailers to try and ensure price changes at the same time. So we try and balance price changes with the percentage off. When it comes to the buy one, get one free or the buy more, save more, the way that it works is that each book gets discounted a little bit. So no one author is taking the hit. So it can be a really great way for readers to be able to pick lots of different authors and for you to get your books put there. So some of our promotions are an upfront cost. You can see the different costings there. I think the daily deal is our most expensive one, which is $80, where your book could be featured on our main spot, where it's like we have a deal every day and we get a certain amount of them a month. And then some of them are percentage off or percentage promotions. So instead of receiving 70%, you would receive 60% on a promotion, which if you're new to Kobo, I kind of encourage you to go for those ones because I'm a terrible businesswoman, but I would never want you to pay for something if you weren't getting your money back from it. So I like to balance if you're a wide author or coming to Kobo for the first time, to really go for those promotions. And we also have the option of custom promo codes. If you ever want those, you just have to email the team for them. They're not self-serve right now, but we're happy to do them for you. And they're completely customizable. So then one of my tips, and I can't remember if I put a slide in for this, but probably not. When you're applying for a promo, there's an option for a text field entry. So really take advantage of this where you can tell the merch team about your book. So you can tell them, I'm a new wide author, this is the first time I've ever promoted this book. I have a book bub and I would like to coincide it with that. So that's something to really take advantage of. And this is just an example of what the promotions sort of look on the Kobo side. So on the left-hand side here, that's our free ebooks page where we're curating these different things. We're actually just have started adding some new carousels. We have the first and free series for ebook. We also have a carousel that's new to Kobo. So if you had a book that is wide for the first time, or it's the first time that you're kind of, if it's a brand new book that you wanted to promote for free, we have those different features, and you'll definitely start to see more and more kind of trope-driven things that we have there as the team are exploring new ways to kind of breathe life into our free page. And you can see the daily deal. This was from the other day. Rachel Grant had the daily deal that was featured on our main deals page on kobo.com. And this is just an example of the buy more, save mores. I think this is a promo code one where it's like bundles of box sets where you could have your book applied and featured in a promotion here. And then I want to talk a little bit about direct audiobook upload. So it is the same idea as the promotions. You won't see the audiobook tab if you create a brand new account. You just have to ask us for access. This is, again, just curating the audiobooks that are coming through a little bit. So all you have to do is email writinglife@kobo.com for access, and we'll enable that for you. Also, a top tip for anyone that is attending today, if you email writinglife@kobo.com and anywhere in your email, just put Tara, that will come to me directly. So if there's something that you wanted to ask directly, I'm happy to chat afterwards or communicate. So that's just a little tip there. With the audiobook upload, there's no exclusivity. Again, everything that we do will not require you to give up your rights at all. We just want you to kind of have Kobo be one of the places that you're publishing, along with all of the other places that you're publishing. We process everything in-house, which means that audiobooks are published within 24 hours. More often than not, it's actually a matter of hours that they're published, which for audiobooks is really, really fast considering the file size. I know sometimes we hear that it can take a few weeks for audiobooks to go live on different vendors and things like that. So we're trying to take the pain out of that process as much as possible. You have the same pricing opportunities as you do for the ebook. So you can set the price in 15 currencies. You can set a pre-order. We don't have any date limitations. The same with ebooks as well. We don't penalize if you're changing your pre-order or anything like that. Obviously, you want to make sure that you're not disappointing your customers, but you can change the date and move things out if you need to. There's nothing that will happen there. And then something that is kind of interesting with the audiobooks as well, if you wanted to test the waters with the AI audiobooks, you can actually upload those on Kobo Writing Life. We accept those. So I know there's a number of different places now that are doing them, but I know the Google had the free AI conversion for audio. So if you wanted to, if you were curious about the audiobook market, but a traditionally narrated book is a little bit out of your price range and you just wanted to test things out, you could definitely upload those with us. And you can also send your audiobooks as part of Kobo Plus as well, which I'll go into in a little bit more detail. But that's something to keep in mind, that the Kobo Plus distribution is included. Some best practices with the AI audiobooks is just to make sure that it's very clearly labeled that this is a machine read book. We don't want to be disappointing customers. We haven't had kind of negative feedback around it at all at the moment. In my opinion, I think there's a space for sort of the narrated books that are narrated by humans along with the AI. I think there's room for both, and we accept both. So I definitely wanted to just highlight that piece, not saying one is preferred over the other or anything like that, but it's just an opportunity for you if you wanted to kind of jump into the audio market. And we also have promotional opportunities available for audiobooks. They're not integrated into the promotions tab just yet. I wish they were, but they're done through a separate mailing list that we can get you on if you would like, but just wanted to give you a sense of some of the promotions that happen here. And the same idea with the promo codes. If you ever wanted a promo code for your audiobook, same as with your ebooks, we can do that for you. Completely customizable. You just have to send us an email and ask. It could be like 5% off, 100% off, just for one day, for a month. It can be a really great newsletter hook or things like that. So something to consider if you're wanting to entice more readers to Kobo. We also have customizable social assets for audio that I can provide. I could maybe give links afterwards. I can send an email with some links to these pieces. They're all on our help center. So actually, when you're in your Kobo Writing Life dashboard, and if you go to help, you'll be able to find the assets there. And we do have a regular buy more, save more promotion that runs for audiobooks as well, along with other seasonal ones that are happening throughout the year. And so just moving on to the library market then, I really love that Overdrive do this annual reporting. And in 2023, they reported 662 million loans. And this is the digital loans through their Overdrive system, which is a 19% increase year over year, which is really encouraging, especially I know we had like the pandemic boom of things. And I love that Overdrive are continuing to see year over year growth. Really love that, especially with the introduction of their new Libby app. I don't know if anyone used it, but it's a really, really easy to use app. So they've kind of moved away from their Overdrive app and have this very intuitive, easy to search app instead. So it's an easy opt-in within Kobo Writing Life. Overdrive are a former sister company of ours, which is how that we were able to negotiate such a good rate for authors. So if you distribute to Overdrive via Kobo Writing Life, you'll earn 50% royalties, which is the highest of the vendors out there. It's kind of the same as going direct with them. So all you need to do is set your library price in USD, and then your book will get distributed to their system. So a general rule of thumb around library pricing is that you have to consider that your book will be loaned out. So they sort of say around the same price as a mass market paperback, which kind of tends to be around 2 to 3 times the ebook price. And I know sometimes people can be a little bit hesitant of having a price that is that much higher. And I would say that there's 2 options that a library can purchase your book. So I wouldn't be too afraid of the price. So for example, in this one here, it's $19.99 as just an example of a library price. So if the library was purchasing this as so we have the OCOU and the CPC. So I'll explain what those mean. OCOU is one copy, one user. And that sort of means that the library will buy your book for $19.99 and they'll have that copy that can be loaned out multiple times. And the CPC is an opportunity for the library to buy your book for 10% of the price, and it'll be for a one-time loan. So in this example, instead of paying $19.99, they would be able to get this book for $1.99, but they could only have it for that one instance and the one loan. And that's a really good way for libraries to try and test out new authors. They're very limited in the budget that they have. So sometimes they're trying to spread out their budget and not wanting to buy the higher priced one. So sometimes we find that libraries will buy multiple CPC copies. And if there is enough demand for a specific book or a specific author, then they'll buy the higher price after the fact. So that's to say that you're going to earn 50% of both of those options, and I wouldn't be too worried about pricing your book for this library price. And it allows you to reach the most dedicated readers. As I mentioned, the Kobo devices are integrated with Overdrive. It really is, people have an emotional attachment to libraries. A librarian is probably your best recommender and your best friend as an author if you can get a librarian on site. They really are really key to book selling, in my opinion. And we also have promotional opportunities available with Overdrive. Those are done through a separate mailing list as well, but we have different seasonal promotions. So I think we had kind of romance ones in February. We do a big end of year. We participate with that with them. And we have different kind of Kobo specific promotions as well that happen. And then I want to talk about Kobo Plus. I'm conscious of time if I'm not talking too quickly, but we're going to, with Kobo Plus. So like I said, this is our non-exclusive subscription program, and it is available in a number of different territories. I have them all broken out for you guys. So it is a revenue share model where you get paid by the minute. That is probably the biggest differentiator between Kobo Plus and some of the other subscription services in the market. We don't have any required opt-in time, so we actually try to build this out on the author side to be as author-friendly as possible. So you can opt your books in and you're not tied into a specific period. You can remove them at any time. We obviously encourage you to leave them in there to try and gain traction, but you're not tied to anything there. And you can even choose the territory that you're opting your books into. It's all broken down. So if you wanted to try out in the Netherlands, for instance, without trying out some of the other markets, we've given you the opportunity to do that as well. And it's a great way of reaching a whole new audience of readers. We have customizable social assets that are available within our help center, again, very similar to the audiobook ones that I mentioned, and the promotional opportunities. And honestly, what we're seeing from authors overall is that it's increasing the revenue, and people are really pleased with the reach that it's giving them. And I wanted to highlight some of the campaigns that we've been running here. So we've been really leaning into a lot of the genre fiction that's being read with Kobo Plus. And we had a campaign last year in Canada that was very much around unleash your main character energy with reading Kobo Plus books. And as a customer, you'll have depending on the territory that you're in, this pricing is the US pricing, but it varies from territory to territory. So you have the option for Kobo Plus Read for $7.99, where you can get just the ebooks, Kobo Plus Listen for $7.99, where you can access audiobooks, or you can have the combined Kobo Plus Read and Listen for only $9.99 a month. So it really is a competitive pricing strategy that we've gone for here. And it is a great way if you're coming wide, for instance, and if you're getting sort of feedback from authors that are used to your books being in another service, you can tell them that they're available here and that they could try out Kobo Plus as well. And yeah, this is showing different kind of features that we have with the Kobo Plus books being featured. And these are ads that you might see. A lot of the digital ads, I mean, I often see them as I'm browsing the internet, that they follow me around. And then we have these different carousels here. So this is what I was talking about with the 6-book carousel, where your book can be featured, and then we'll move them down the carousel. And we also have features for Kobo Plus Authors of the Month as well. It's something that's really interesting around how we can kind of curate the content that's available here and try and spotlight things. And something that's unique for the promotions for Kobo Plus also is that it's not just promoted on the website and the apps. It's actually in the device store itself, so on the Kobo devices. And that's been really helping give a lift to things, especially with Kobo Plus. As it's browsing, you kind of want to just click the next book. So having it on the device is just a good additional feature. And it's also included in different emails that we send out to the subscriber base in those territories. So just, I mean, this slide might be a little bit scary looking, but I wanted to just break down kind of like how you get paid with Kobo Plus and how it works. So on the left-hand side here, we have the main metric. So it is a revenue share model, very similar to all of the other subscription models in the market. So how we calculate this is that we have our main number of subscribers in any given market. So all of the subscribers pay their $9.99 or $7.99 a month. So all of that together gives us the total revenue for that month. And then we combine, then we take all of the minutes consumed by the ebooks and audiobooks for that month as well. And if we divide the revenue by the minutes consumed, that gives us our value per minute. And this is sort of the equivalent of your page read price, right? So we call it the value per minute instead. This will kind of fluctuate month to month, given like increasing subscribers or increasing minutes being read, but it doesn't fluctuate that much. And you can see it pretty clearly laid out in your invoices. And then per title, what we do is we have the total minutes of your title, and that's multiplied by the value per minute. And then that is multiplied by 60%, which is the title payout. And then in addition to this, then we have the title is paid out as a read. So we consider a read to be the equivalent of 300 minutes. So you might be wondering why 300 minutes and why the reads are paid out in that way. And it really is, it was just an ask from publishers to have like an equivalent of one book unit. What is that roughly with minutes? As minutes is sort of like a conceptual idea. So it's like 300 minutes is the rough equivalent of a book read. So that is why. And these are the current regions that we have Kobo Plus available in. It's in 18 areas. We've launched 4 this year already. So those last 4, Hong Kong, Taiwan, South Africa, and Ireland. South Africa and Ireland, we just launched like 2 weeks ago, a week ago. And we have more rolling out. So we're really kind of happy with how we can spread this throughout the world and have it available in so many territories, and just really want to have readers read books. We want to be able to make this accessible to a lot of people, and we want authors to be able to reach readers in all of these areas. So be sure if you have an audience in that space to let them know about Kobo Plus as well, because that's kind of key. But I like to try and think about it as our main English markets would be Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the US, and the UK. And then that's not to say that there isn't English books that are read in all of these other markets, but that's just sort of how we break it down, or how I break it down at least. All right, and I wanted to go over some best practices that I had for Kobo Writing Life. Really make friends with metadata. It is the most important thing about your book, especially with digital books. You know, people can't pick it up and browse or flip through. So you're trying to sell your book in a very short time, and you're doing this with the limited information, and that information is your metadata. So I think especially for books that are published through Kobo Writing Life often tend to be series, books part of a series. And I think making sure that you have the series information correct is very, very key. We're going to try and sell the next book in the series as much as we can on our end. But unfortunately, if the series information isn't connected, we're not going to know that this book is part of a series. So you want to make sure when you're entering your series name that there's no extra spaces or no typo or anything like that. It might be something very simple that you kind of rush to enter, and our system is going to have a hard time connecting that to the next book. And you want to make sure that you're including the volume numbers as well. So again, when that person has finished book 1, that we can prompt them to book 2. We do accept having the 0.5 integers in, and you can also include a 0 if you had any sort of prequel or novella and things like that. And also with box sets, we sometimes get questions around like the numbers or what would you do with a box set. I would say you could take advantage of the 0.5 if you wanted, or more so, I would just include the series name without a number. That way it's still getting tied into the same series that you have. And I just wanted to highlight some stuff on the store where we've kind of done work around allowing customers to search by series here. So you can see this Penny Reid series that you can browse, the Winston Brothers. And then we're also going to prompt you on the product page to add, so forgive me, sorry. My dog is barking. He gave me a fright. So you can add the, you'll see all of the series here numerically listed. And then there's also the option to add the whole series to a cart. So like I said, on our side, we're really trying to sell the next book in your series. But without the correct metadata, it's really hard for us to do this. So that's just one of my top tips, is to double check your metadata, especially in the series information. And then bundle those books. I've talked a little bit about box sets. It tends to be something that we hear is very, the Kobo reader is very specifically interested in box sets, sometimes more than other retailers. So when we talk about box sets, when to bundle the books, I would say if you've released at least 3, oh my God, I'm sorry. If you've released at least 3 books in a series, that tends to be the sweet spot with box sets. There definitely is duo box sets as well. I think it kind of depends how your series is going, but something that you don't want to do is if you're just starting a new series, you don't want to bundle them too soon. So I would say it depends on what book you're publishing, but 3 tends to be the sort of sweet spot there. And I would say that you should definitely be willing to create a new book cover and an easily navigable book file. And so what I mean by that is that if you're bundling like a mega box set bundle, for instance, you want to be able to check that your table of content is easily accessible. So not only within that one book, but that a reader can browse between all of the books, because it's going to be a larger file and you just want to make sure that the table of content is covering this. And in terms of book covers, I kind of picked some of the covers that I find really interesting here. We don't reject the 3D book covers that are on a plain white background. But they're probably less inclined to get picked for a promotion, just because when you think about it, your book cover already has quite a small space on the internet. And if you have those 3D book covers that have nothing in the background, it just makes your cover really, really little then. So there's lots of good things that you can do with your covers. I really like exploring what people are doing, whether it's just like a theme, just one image overall and saying that it's a box set. You can include a 3D bundle, but have an image in the background. You can play around with the different themes here. I like to think of a box set cover almost as an ad for your series. So like, how do you advertise your series with just that one image while keeping within the brand of the series overall? So just included some examples here of books that I thought were kind of interesting. And then we also have no higher price caps. So like I said, the mega box set bundles, we do see authors, I mean, I hear kind of regularly from authors that they have box sets that are just for Kobo because they want to take advantage of earning 70%. So even if you're priced over $9.99, you'll be earning 70% on those sales. And we do a lot of promotions around box sets. Probably every other month, there's some sort of themed promotion where it's often like 25% off or 30% off. Something that's quite interesting is that we do promotions for our VIP readers. And VIP readers on Kobo are people that pay a subscription each year and they get different perks. We have loyalty points that increase and they have promotions that are just for them. So some of the promotions that we do for VIP are just for box sets. And I really think that these are the readers that you want to go after. They're the very dedicated readers that are paying for additional perks. They read a lot. They probably own a device. So they're the ones that you want to put your books in front of. So keep an eye on the promo tab for different opportunities related to box sets. And like I said, we're really a globally focused retailer. So I think with indie publishing, I think sometimes we tend to think only in our home territory. And I've been guilty of that in this presentation, actually, only thinking of Canadian dollar. But you should really think globally when it comes to publishing your books. And pricing really is key to that. We have the pricing available in 15 currencies. So once you're priced over $2.99, it's 70% with no higher price cap. One thing I'd recommend is to really optimize your pricing. I wish that we did this a little higher. Sorry, my example, the 20% royalty, this example is for a public domain book. I should have changed that actually, but it is not 20% royalty. It is 70% royalty. These are my test books. So I would recommend optimizing your pricing in all of the regions. And what I mean by that is that if you let it auto convert, it might not be the most attractive. Like you can see here that the Australian dollar has auto converted to 13.08. And that's probably not what a customer would respond to, but they would respond to a $13.99 and things like that. So I'd recommend taking the time to at least add the currencies in our kind of top territories, which would be the US, the Canadian dollar, Australia, New Zealand, British pounds, and euro. If you have the time to do it in all of them, I do wish that this was a one-click thing that's on my wish list for optimizations within Kobo Writing Life in general. But I definitely would take the time to add the pricing if you can. And something that I think about as well with as indie publishing has matured, review your older pricing. You know, unfortunately, we live in a time of inflation. Prices have increased for everything. Did you publish a book a few years ago and you've never looked at the price again? You know, it's likely that perhaps you're undervaluing that work now, just compared to how the rest of the book market is. So I definitely would review your entire catalog and see if those price points still work for your business. And don't forget that our biggest market is Canada. So even if you're only setting one custom price, make sure it's the Canadian dollar. You're more likely to sell more in Canada than some of these other regions. So I would keep that in mind. And also think about the global reader. We have a really big audience for translations, and that can be a great opportunity for your backlist books. I'm really excited to see what AI can do for translations to make things a little bit more affordable about how we balance AI with an editor in those areas. That's something that I think is that I'm keeping an eye on in the next few years. And like I said, we have local teams in key territories, and we have local Kobo Writing Life teams in France, Italy, and the Netherlands. And we do have promotional opportunities around translations pretty regularly. Some of them are outside of the promo tab as well. So if you have translations that you're interested in, I could connect you with the people in those regions. And also Kobo Plus is a great opportunity for translations. As I mentioned, it's in 18 countries and growing. And a lot of these are different European countries. So it can be a really good opportunity for those translated books. So it could be a good way to balance if you weren't too sure about stepping fully into the wide market. There's lots of ways that you can do it. You don't have to be one thing or the other. You can try a lot of different things out. And then also keep an eye on your wide sales. I just wanted to show our brand new dashboard that I was really happy to roll out last year. So we have our dashboard in a space where you can see your ebooks and audiobooks all in one space. You can also see your pre-orders and your free titles. And we're giving you a kind of a quick overview on the top here of any different sales that you have. And we kept our map to show where your global sales are coming from. And this includes Kobo Plus. So we have Kobo Plus was added last year as well. So you can actually see your minutes read each month. The Kobo Plus data isn't updated every day. It's updated monthly just because that's how we're getting the data right now. Hopefully, eventually, we'll have this more frequently. But we still wanted to give you an opportunity to see your ebooks and audiobooks within Kobo Plus and see how it's broken down. There's also an opportunity to export all of this data as well. And it's very customizable and easy to see and just really easy to access this stuff. So we're really pleased with being able to roll this out. And yeah, I would encourage you to join the Kobo Writing Life community and take advantage of the dedicated team of experts that I get to work with every day. We're a small team, but we do like that we have a reputation of being one of the most author-friendly platforms out there. So please don't be afraid to email us. You can contact us at writinglife@kobo.com. You can follow us on socials at Kobo Writing Life, some various different iterations of Kobo Writing Life, but if you search that, you'll find us online. And then we also have the bi-weekly Kobo Writing Life podcast where we have over 330 episodes. And it's kind of balancing advice on growing your self-publishing business. And we have interviews from top authors, industry news. We kind of mix some traditional authors with indie authors and really focus on some of the craft as well. Rachel and Laura, my team, do a great job interviewing the authors there. It's always really fun to listen to. And we also have the KWL Quill, which is our monthly newsletter. So if you're not signed up for that, I'd recommend signing up. It really is a very long, in-depth newsletter, which I have a lot of fun reading every month, where it has different author success stories, writing tips, and industry news in general. We also focus on different genres each month to try and see, like, what's the newest genre everyone is talking about. Romantasy, for example, of like the newest thing that is being bundled, or I think we talked about sports romance in one edition for a while. And then we also have our live Q&As that happen every month. It's actually happening tomorrow if you guys are around. Me, Rachel, and Laura on my team will be doing a live Q&A on our Facebook and YouTube channels. Tomorrow is an AMA all about Kobo Plus, where I'll be talking very similar to today, but specific about Kobo Plus and the expansion. And we also do different Kobo insiders, and we have genre-focused roundtables where Laura hosted a few authors in February for a roundtable where it's really fun. And if you ever wanted to participate in any of these things, if you wanted to be on the podcast or the Q&A, send me an email. Always would love to chat and see what we can do. Yeah, that is my last slide. Sorry, that felt very abrupt there. So thank you so much. Here's my email. You can reach me at tara.cremin@rakuten.com. And again, if you don't remember that, like I said, if you email writinglife@kobo.com and put Tara anywhere in that, I'll get those as well. So happy to field any emails and also for any questions. So I'll stop sharing because unfortunately I can't see you if I'm still sharing. So I'll stop now. Okay. I hope I wasn't talking too quickly. I was very conscious of the time there.
No, you're great. And it gives us a good 10 or 15 minutes for questions. So I'm trying to get my video back on. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, you can hear me. Oh, yeah, here I am. Alrighty. So Angela has actually asked about links, and that gave me the opportunity to explain that we have an actual guide to Kobo and all their everything's.
I did forget to mention that. I'm sorry.
No problem at all. In the Ally dashboard, and we have recently updated that. And of course, it's always a work in progress and always being updated because you guys are always doing new things. But yeah, we have guides too. So Angela, if you and everybody, if you log into the Ally member dashboard on the Ally member website, you'll find it there. We will be importing a lot of the documents and helpful stuff that we get from our partner members and other places, and our own writing, our member guides and guidebooks into Self-Pub Connect here. So they'll be available here in time. But for now, it's a matter of logging in to the Ally website. Okay, so questions for you, Tara. Wendy wants to know, can you offer a free book just on Kobo?
No, not if you're publishing in multiple places because of price matching laws. So you have to have the same price in the different retailers. However, if it is only on Kobo and free, then yes. If you wanted to offer 100% off promotion or promo code, we could do that. That's what I mean about the custom promos. So there are different ideas that you could have, but no, you couldn't have different pricing for the books. Unfortunately, they should be the same across the board.
Cool. Is there a cost to upload your book directly to Kobo? That's from Barbara.
No, it's totally free. It's just where we're earning is just on the different royalty structures, but there's no cost in creating an account or anything like that.
Fantastic. So Libby says, thank you for calling the app after her.
You're welcome.
She also wants to know, have you done any research on your promos, in terms of the success, the percentage of sales that people get more if they do use promos, or the amount of money brought in, or anything like that? Does it vary by country? Which are the most coveted, etc., etc.? Anything, any information, any data about your promotions?
Oh yeah, we have lots of research. We're constantly looking at what we're doing and not just continuing to do the same promos because we've always done them. It's actually conversations that we've been having this week about kind of how do we revitalize some that we think have become a little bit stale with customers. So not any specific information that I can say, but what I would say is that you can maybe trust the fact that anything that's on the promo tab is something that we really kind of are behind in terms of we think it'll be successful. I do think the VIP promos, those readers are very avid and those tend to do very well. And then the daily deal is the most coveted just because there's probably the fewer spots for that there. And from what I'm hearing, so we only introduced the Kobo Plus promotions in October, I believe. And those have been doing very well for read through as well. So we're keeping an eye on all of this, and we always monitor and we kind of adapt and change to make sure that everything is working as best as trying to just make it as optimal as possible.
Fantastic. Is it better, Barbara wants to know, to promote to the library on first publication, or can you do it later? Does it matter?
Anytime at all. Once the book is there, I would say, I think one thing that is important is to let your readers know that it's available to the library. So there's that piece, and then you can also promote to the library itself. There's no harm in, if you have your local library, if there was ever that relationship there, you could definitely do that as well. And then to participate in our promotions. They're usually discounted promotions. So it really depends on what your plan is. So if it's a brand new book, you probably maybe don't want to discount that. So it really depends on what your plans are for the title and what your marketing strategy is.
Okay, Lizzie has a few questions. Do you need to own a Kobo reader in order to be in Kobo Plus?
No, not at all. So we have apps that you can download for free on iOS and Android. And something that I really like about our app is that it's ebooks and audiobooks all in one place, and also Kobo Plus. So if you're curious, you could download it for free and just take a look and see what it looks like from the reader perspective. But no requirement for the e-readers. We also have a web reader as well. So you can download onto your computer, or you can also read on the kobo.com store too.
Fantastic. And is there a carousel in Kobo Plus for specific genres? You mentioned particularly non-fiction for horse owners, something that kind of micro niche.
Maybe not that micro niche, but that's always an opportunity. We do have the different carousels by genre. But I do feel like we might have a general nonfiction, but maybe not that specific. But that's definitely feedback that I can share with the team.
Sure, and Lizzie can maybe have a look. Barbara wants to know, how often do you pay out?
So your payments it's monthly. It depends on how. So we have a payment threshold of $50 Canadian. So once you reach $50, we pay 45 days after the end of that monthly period, which I know is a little bit confusing. So for example, it's March now. If you have earned $50 in March, we would issue you payment on the 15th of May. And it's every month then. So, and it's combined, it's Kobo Plus and a la carte and everything together. So we pay monthly depending on how much you've earned.
Cool. Dana wants to know, she's a fast reader. Does that mean that the author is being penalized by her?
That's a great question. And that's definitely something that we considered when we introduced the minutes read. One of the reasons that we introduced it was so we would have a way to calculate ebooks and audio, or kind of consider ebooks and audiobooks together. But in our research for it, we did look a lot at the different genres and, you know, different people reading faster versus people reading slower. And for lack of a better phrase, it kind of all comes out in the wash that there's no real penalizing for speed readers as people are slower readers. So we definitely took that into account and did a lot of research prior to introducing it. So I would say no.
Don't worry about it, Dana.
Yeah.
Just read on.
Yeah.
Ava wants to know about Spanish-speaking countries. I guess she means Spanish books, or yeah, I guess she means Spanish books.
Yeah, so we actually just launched in some Latin American countries. So Kobo.com is now available as of a couple of weeks ago in Argentina, Peru, Chile, and Colombia. So our stores are available there for the first time, which is very exciting. And then we also have partnerships in Mexico with Gandhi and Perua, which are two booksellers there where we power their digital experience. So we are available everywhere on like what we called a worldwide store. And then we have our localized stores in about 40 odd regions as well. So definitely very well covered in the Spanish market. But yeah, that's a good, I never got to mention our 4 new countries as well, which is exciting. So we've been very busy this year.
Growing all the time. Libby's asking about your percentage in the US market in particular, and whether you have plans to expand there, or do you concentrate more on outside the US, or what's going on there?
We kind of, we focus on everywhere. I mean, I can't share specifics around any market data, unfortunately. But I think with Kobo Plus, it's got a great leverage for us in the US, as our pricing is quite competitive. It's actually cheaper than the Kindle Unlimited pricing. So that's a really good opportunity for us to leverage there in the US. But we kind of focus on all of the areas. Me personally, I look at the English language areas. So yeah, I keep an eye on the Canada, US, Australia.
Great. And Angela had a question about Brazilian Portuguese. She's just had her book translated, so that's covered by your moving into the South American countries, right?
Yeah. We're available in Brazil.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just trying to pick out because we are running out of time, the most relevant questions. Does KWL offer an ebook formatting service program app?
We don't, unfortunately. We do accept you can upload a Word doc and we'll convert to EPUB for free. Then you have to download the EPUB and check it. So we don't have the formatting per se, but there's a lot of great tools out there that you could use. I know Draft2Digital have a wonderful tool. You could create your book there and use that file with Kobo Writing Life. So yeah, it's more so taking the file itself rather than creating the file in KWL.
And Dale has a question particularly about fixed layout ebooks. Do you have any in-house guidance particularly for Kobo, or is it? Yeah,
we if you want to send an email, Dale, we do have specs on I think there's a Kobo GitHub that has specs specific for fixed layout files, and especially with comics. So I can send you a link to that because I know fixed layout is a little trickier.
Great. I am afraid, folks, we are all out of time. So a huge big thank you, Tara, for dropping into us today and for allowing people to email you direct and share all your knowledge. And I think everybody who was here tonight is going to be inspired about all the new things that you're doing and inspired to use Kobo to reach that huge global audience that's out there waiting for their books. So thank you again.
And one thing that I just will add, keep an eye over the coming weeks. We will have an announcement that I can't quite say, but I'm very excited about. So just to get people extra excited. And thank you so much for the wonderful questions and for taking the time this evening. I really appreciate it.
Fantastic. And do make sure you let us know when this wonderful thing, whatever is coming, arrives. Great. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for coming along to our first partner member webinar on Self-Pub Connect. And yeah, that was remarkably painless. I hope you all found it as painless as we did. So no tech hitches. All right, then. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Happy writing. Happy publishing. Bye-bye now.
Bye.